Hey everyone, Megan from Campus Recreation here. Thank you for tuning in for this week's episode of Nutrition Intermission. We are going to kick today off by talking about what's in season since it is the beginning of December. So we'll tackle that and then we will move into our grain bowls. So first on my list for seasonal produce, I have clementines. So when you're choosing a fresh clementine, you want to look for a uniform orange color, a shiny skin, and no blemishes or wrinkles. And they should actually also feel soft. Next, we have grapefruit. So you want to look for a thin, smooth, firm, and blemish-free skin. And grapefruit should actually feel a little bit heavy for their size. Then we have kiwi, so looking for a slightly firm kiwi fruit with a rough, fuzzy skin. And then last but certainly not least, we have leeks. So looking for firm, crisp stalks with as much white and light green regions as possible. Try to avoid leeks with yellow or withered tops. So we're going to transition into our grain bowls. So these are an absolute favorite in my household, and they are a big trend right now and have been for quite some time. So a little bit about them. They are actually kind of a mishmash of a meal. They combine some sort of grain and literally whatever else you want to put in them. They're a healthy, well-balanced one bowl meal, which is great for cleanup and also the dishwasher. And you can definitely make them with stuff that you already have on hand. You can make grain bowls for breakfast, lunch, dinner, any meal of the day. You can certainly have one. A couple of things about grain bowls. So one big thing I want to encourage you all is to think about a variety of textures and flavors while you are bringing these together. Kind of what I go for when I'm building a grain bowl. So my basic kind of ratio of items is 1 to 2 grains, and this takes up about a third of the bulk of the bowl, and then 2 to 3 veggies, which is about another third, a protein, so this can be plant-based or animal-based, and then don't forget something crunchy. This definitely adds texture and style, and finally, it's certainly not a requirement, but bringing all of those flavors together with a dressing certainly makes that bowl a home run, knock it out of the park. So just think about those. Again, what goes in it, totally up to you. Leftovers can be great jumping points for starting a bowl and just kind of whatever you have on hand. So we can't talk about a grain bowl and not address grains. There are so many grains out there, ancient grains, just different things that you can add to have the base of your bowl. Things like quinoa, farro, buckwheat, wild rice, barley, couscous, all of those. They are great options to start your bowl. Just remember, I've kind of found that in the past, when you are cooking them, just cook them a little bit al dente. They are going to be coming through with other options and kind of sitting in the fridge maybe if you're going to be using them for a meal or two. So just think about that when you are making them. Next is protein. So it's not vital, but remember, if you are plant-based, you can offer a plant-based protein, a legume, a bean, tofu, things of that nature. So there are great options there. Also, animal proteins work as well. A lot of people will tend to say that protein is the one thing that differentiates a grain bowl from a side dish to a main course, but you can do it either way. And you can just start with whatever protein you decide and add other ingredients from there. Or you can start with all of the other options and then add your protein last. There's really no rhyme or rhythm for starting with one or the other. Next is the veggies. So leafy greens are an absolute dream here. They just work really well in grain bowls, hold up as well, and they offer great texture. Things like kale, if you're looking for a little bit of bitterness, you can add mustard greens or radicchio. Those are great options as well. And they, if you have leftover vegetables from a meal the night before, definitely don't toss them out. You can reuse them in this bowl here. You just want to make sure that you keep your roasted vegetables in 1 to 2 bites. So try and keep them small. Typically, you know, we might cook them up for other meals in a little bit larger portions, so you could cut them up after they're already cooked and add them to your bowl. You can definitely slice raw vegetables, carrots, tomatoes, those all work well here. Raw corn, not that that's something that a lot of people eat, but yes, they are great texture items as well. Snap peas work great. Next is up on my list, I have the crunchy bits. So crunch adds interest. Definitely for me, and I bet that for a lot of you. So toasted nuts are absolutely phenomenal in grain bowls. They take a few minutes either in a skillet on the stove, or you can do these in the oven. Just make sure you keep an eye on them. But also think about things like rice crisps, crisp Parmesan cheese, some sunflower seeds, or roasted chickpeas if you're plant-based. These are great options as well. One thing I do want to mention, if you are traveling with your grain bowl or making it with leftovers, I would suggest keeping the crunchy part on the side and adding it actually right before you're getting ready to eat it. If you add it with all the other stuff in the bowl and it kind of sits overnight, it can lose its crunchiness. So just keep that in mind. Finally, last item is the dressing. So it's not a must, but for me personally, it is how I bring my grain bowls together. It is like phenomenal and can't get enough of it. When they ask you if you want light, medium, or heavy, I am totally a heavy dressing girl. So one of my go-to dressings is a little bit of minced shallot or onion. You can add lemon juice or vinegar or both. A little bit of olive oil or avocado oil and a little bit of seasoning. So salt and pepper, and I tend to use a little bit of a sweetener. So honey or maple syrup are typically my go-tos. Salt and pepper are great. Turmeric, ginger, those are great options as well. Just think about kind of the overall flavor that you are looking for and go from there. Also, if you want a little bit more sweetness, don't forget you can include dried fruit. Those are great options as well. So we're actually going to switch views so you can take a peek at one of my favorite grain bowls. Okay, so before we get going on this grain bowl, I do want to mention that is one of my favorites from the food blogger Minimalist Baker. So we will definitely link for you this recipe. And I also want to mention that she does not have a grain included in this, but I have added it for my preparation. So just a quick note about that. Also, you'll see I have a bowl here. It's kind of medium sized, a little bit deeper than cereal bowl or something like that. So something deep or a little bit wide will work well for this. So there's no rhyme or reason for why you would add things in a certain order. This is kind of just how I do it. So I'm going to start with the grain, and I actually have pearled couscous for today. So I'm just going to put that in the bottom here. And I do keep it in the fridge. It is cooked, so I will just separate that out a little bit. Not too terribly much, kind of just gather it to one side. The next big ingredient that I have is actually kale. That's my green, so I'm gonna add that next. So time-saving tip for me as a busy mom, I bought this kale kind of as a kale salad mix. So it has some radicchio and carrots in it as well. So I just roasted that up with it. Next, for some color, we've got our sweet potatoes, so a good starch here as well. So I'm going to layer that next here on the side. And you'll see cubed up, like I talked about, in those 1 to 2 bites. Some more color in the recipe. She suggests the red onion. They are phenomenal when you roast them. So definitely don't skip it. Give it a try. I was a little apprehensive at first, but it is wonderful. Next, I have broccoli. So more veggies, some more green. You'll see quite a bit of a rainbow going on here. Perfect. Awesome. Stacking that in. Next, my last bit of crunch is actually some roasted spicy chickpeas. So I'm just gonna drop those. This is also my protein. I'm a plant-based eater. So great option here for crunch. And remember, leave it out if you are traveling with this bowl. And then I'm gonna actually finish this with the tahini dressing. It is absolutely amazing, making it at home, mason jar, little cap, makes it quick and easy to pour. Quick little shake and drizzling it in. And there you have it. This is the Minimalist Baker's actual Buddha bowl, but it is a great option when you add a grain. That's in the bottom, but it's phenomenal. Give it a try. Check out the link. So I hope you found today's episode interesting and learned a couple of things about our seasonal produce and also about those grain bowls. Just remember, anything you have on hand, you can pull it together and make a great grain bowl for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Definitely some great options there. Make it more of a breakfasty food or more savory in the afternoon or evening. Thanks all again, and we will see you next week.